All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. In a pretty dramatic announcement in a video that he released, the Wagner Group Chief Yevgeny Prigozhin has said that his forces will pull out of the Ukrainian city of Bakhmut. Now, this is the same city that the Russian forces, especially the Wagner Group of Yevgeny Prigozhin, have been trying to capture since August-September last year. The Wagner head has said that his forces will withdraw on the 10th of May owing to the heavy losses and also the inadequate supply of ammunition to his forces by the Russian army. He's also asked the defense chiefs to deploy the regular army troops in their place.
Мы собирались к 9 мая 23 года овладеть населенным пунктом Бахмут. Но увидев это, околовоенные бюрократы с 1 мая фактически прекратили любые поставки, чтобы не дать нам это сделать. Потому что они сидят, трясут жирными животами и думают, что они войдут в историю победителями. Они уже в нее вошли трусами.
So that is what Yevgeny Prigozhin had to say about the Russian defense minister. But the question, of course, is, was this outburst a sudden outburst? Because before his announcement, Yevgeny Prigozhin had also released a video where he was seen standing amidst a field of corpses. He claimed that these are members of the Wagner Group who died on Thursday. And given the circumstances, he has, of course, threatened to pull out his troops entirely by the 10th of May. Now, Yevgeny Prigozhin says that his forces are suffering losses because Kremlin has not supplied ammunition. He's also launched a salvo of pretty sharp-worded comments aimed at the defense minister Sergei Shoigu and the chief of the Russian army staff Valery Gerasimov. The Prigozhin has challenged the Russian leadership and has blamed the deaths on a lack of support from Moscow. He claims that there was a 70% shortage of ammunition to the Wagner forces who are presently battling the Ukrainians in Bakhmut.
Вот это вот парни ЧВК «Вагнер», которые погибли сегодня. Еще кровь свежая. Сними всех.
Now, this, remember, is not the first time that the Wagner chief has lamented about a shortage of ammunition. He's repeatedly complained about not receiving support from Kremlin. In February 2023, he'd made a similar appeal for more ammunition. All right, now to give us more insights in terms of what all of these statements by Yevgeny Prigozhin, of course, means, we are being joined by James Jackson, who's a journalist and also a political analyst, and he's joining us live from Berlin. Now, Mr. Jackson, we've all heard what Yevgeny Prigozhin has said, and we also saw that pretty disturbing video where he was seen standing amidst corpses. One assumes that these are dead Wagner soldiers who were fighting in Bakhmut. Now, the Wagner chief says that the reason why the Wagner mercenaries are dying, and dying so quickly on the battlefields of Ukraine, is because the Russians' defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, and the top staff are not supplying them with adequate ammunition to fight in Ukraine. What do you make of this?
I think what we're seeing here is a divide within Russia's military. Now, divide's been there for a long time, but I think that Prigozhin is trying to use this and trying to reach out and make them, because he also described the Wagner Group as the heroes of Russia, standing in Russia's defense. So the Wagner Group is quite an interesting company. They claim to be a private military company, but a lot of experts doubt that they are actually mercenaries in the traditional sense, and rather that they possibly add plausible deniability for Russia's operations overseas, particularly in Africa, but also in the invasion of eastern Ukraine from 2014. That was when they first came to light. So there's, as in many states, in particular more corrupt states and dictatorial autocratic ones like Russia, there's a divide between ruling elites who are competing for the president's attention and resources. And in this case, we see that although Prigozhin claims not to have been given enough ammunition, I think he's probably right there. The Wagner Group haven't been given very much ammunition. And it is clear that they are recruiting people from prisons, volunteers from prisons, as well as other places, just for very small amounts of money, and sending them out in waves and waves to die. Now, that is partly a strategy of attrition from the Wagner Group themselves, because it was very easy for them to get these troops, as I said, many of them literally from prisons, where they've been told they can become free, they can get their freedom if they fight to defend Russia. And then they just send them out in human waves. So it could be 10 to 1. And they get shot and destroyed by Ukrainians. But other reports say that actually Ukraine is running out of ammunition, particularly for artillery, and that the Russian artillery is doing quite well in the region. So it could be that the traditional Russian forces are being given the artillery by Shoigu and Gerasimov, whereas the Wagner troops are just being used as sort of human cannon fodder, effectively. And Prigozhin is going out and complaining about that, making his complaints public again. Whether they will actually retreat from Bakhmut is something that we should doubt. This, I think, is about the internal game in the Kremlin, about getting people to back him and to stop losing so many troops, because it is clear that Wagner troops are dying at a crazy rate of attrition.
Absolutely, indeed. Now, also the fact that, the Wagner chief has lashed out against the defense minister, Sergei Shoigu, and also the chief of staff there, Gerasimov. These are men appointed directly by Vladimir Putin. So, in a sense, is the Wagner chief now disagreeing with the strategy that Vladimir Putin has employed for the Ukraine war?
I think that's a great question. I think in this case, he's never criticized Putin, and he never would. What he's saying, but you could understand this video message as a message to Putin directly. And he's saying, my forces get it done, but my forces are dying. You should trust me and not Shoigu and Gerasimov. And there's been a long-running rivalry between them. You see that in many kinds of dictatorial regimes, with elites competing against each other. But of course, if they're intelligent and they know how the Kremlin operates, they would never come out and criticize Putin. So he's really making an appeal to Putin. I think you can understand this video as a direct appeal to Putin, as well as fans in Russia, and a criticism of Shoigu. And there are questions of how much Putin trusts Shoigu. He would be a potential leadership rival. So then he might want to overthrow him at some point down the line. Some people, Russia experts, have speculated.
All right, very interesting. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Jackson, for joining us and getting us all those details there.
Thanks for having me.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.